The dining room was filled with laughter and the soft sound of cutlery. It was one of those rare evenings when Adil, a successful and busy businessman, had managed to come home early. His wife, Sana, was smiling while serving dinner, and their 10-year-old daughter, Mare, was talking excitedly about her school project. Adil, usually serious and cold, was different that night. He looked at Mare with soft eyes, listening to her stories even though his phone kept buzzing. She was the only one who could melt his heart. Mir was his world, his only child, the light of his life. But everything changed with one phone call. Adil's phone rang loudly. He picked it up with irritation, expecting a work call. But his face turned pale as he listened. His fork dropped from his hand. "What?" He whispered, then shouted, "Where?" Sana stood up, panic in her eyes. "What happened?" Adil didn't answer. He grabbed his coat, rushed out the door, and shouted, "It's Meher! She's been in an accident!" Rain was falling hard, as Adil's car sped through the city streets. His hands shook on the steering wheel. Images of Meher's smiling face flashed before his eyes. He had just seen her. How could this happen? He reached the hospital and ran inside. Doctors and nurses were rushing around. The smell of medicine and the sound of machines made the whole place feel cold and terrifying. Adil found a nurse and yelled, "Where's my daughter, Meher Adil?" "She's in the emergency room," the nurse replied, her face serious. "The accident was bad. She lost a lot of blood." Adil pushed open the doors to the emergency room and saw Meher lying, unconscious on a hospital bed. Her small face was bruised and tubes were attached to her arms. Machines beeped around her. "Baba," Sana whispered behind him, tears running down her face. She had arrived just after him. Is she going to be okay?" A doctor walked up to them, his face tight with worry. "Mr. Adil, your daughter needs a very rare blood type, AB negative. We've already tested you and your wife. Neither of you are a match." "Then find someone who is," Adil shouted, his voice trembling with fear. "I don't care what it costs. I'll pay anything. Just save her," the doctor sighed. "We are trying, but AB negative is very rare. We've sent alerts to other hospitals and blood banks. But it may take time." "Time," Adil stepped forward, grabbing the doctor's arm. "She doesn't have time. Look at her." The doctor gently pulled away. "We are doing everything we can, sir, but unless we find a donor fast, her condition will get worse." Adil made calls to everyone he knew, business partners, government officials, hospital directors. "Find me AB negative blood right now," he demanded again and again. He even posted online through his assistant, promising a huge reward to anyone who could donate the blood. But minutes turned to hours. The rain didn't stop, and Meher's condition was not improving. Sana sat in a corner of the waiting room, crying silently. Adil stood at the window, staring out into the storm. For the first time in years, he felt helpless. Money couldn't save his daughter. Power couldn't find the blood she needed. Suddenly, a nurse ran in. "Sir, a donor has arrived. A woman with AB negative blood is here. She's already in the donation room." Adil rushed to the nurse. "Who is she? What's her name?" "We don't know. She didn't say much, just that she saw the online post and wanted to help. She asked not to be disturbed." Adil's heart raced. "I want to meet her. She already started the donation. Please wait. Your daughter's life is more important right now." Adil stopped. She was right. Whoever the woman was, she had come like an angel. Maybe, just maybe, Meher had a chance now. An hour later, the doctor returned, smiling for the first time. "She's stable now. The donor's blood worked. Your daughter is going to be okay." Adil felt his knees weaken. He sat down slowly, covering his face with both hands. "Thank God, thank God." The nurse approached him with a clipboard. "Sir, we always ask donors to sign in for records." She didn't wait, but she wrote her name. Adil took the clipboard and looked at the name. Zoya. His hands froze. His eyes widened in shock. Zoya. The woman he had once loved deeply, and he left behind. She had disappeared from his life many years ago, and now she had returned to save his daughter's life. without even revealing herself. Adil whispered the name again, his heart pounding. Zoya. He had questions. Too many. Why was she here? How did she know? Why did she help? But most of all, where had she been all these years? And what did fate have planned next? Adil sat in the hospital corridor, the name Zoya still fresh in his mind. The storm outside had stopped, but a different storm was rising inside him. It had been more than 12 years since he last heard that name. He thought she was gone forever. Now she had come back. Silently, just to save his daughter's life. He looked through the glass at Meher, who was sleeping peacefully in her hospital bed. Machines still beeped, but her face looked calm now. The nurse approached him quietly. "Sir, the woman didn't leave any contact details. She just left after donating blood. She didn't want anything in return." Adil stood up. "Did she say anything at all?" The nurse thought for a second. "Just one thing. She said, tell the father. She's safe now." Then she walked away. Adil's chest tightened. His mind went back in time to a memory he had buried deep. 12 years ago. Adil was a rising businessman then, not as rich as now, but very ambitious. He was deeply in love with Zoya, a kind and simple girl who worked as a teacher. She believed in love, family, and simple joys. Adil believed in power, success, and reaching the top. They were complete opposites. Still, their love was strong. For a while. But things started changing. Adil became more focused on his career. He wanted Zoya to wait, to accept a life in the shadows until he became rich and powerful. Zoya wanted something else: commitment, respect, and a future together. Their last meeting ended with tears. Zoya walked away, saying, "One day your money won't save you, and that day you'll remember me." And now, she had returned. Just like she said. Back in the hospital, Adil couldn't sit still. He needed to find her. He had to speak. To her, thank her, explain, ask her why. He went to the nurse's desk again. Did she leave anything behind? Anything at all? The nurse shook her head. Only her name, but she wore a silver locket. I remember it because she held it tightly before leaving. Adil's eyes widened. He remembered that locket. It was his gift to her, long ago, when they were still together. That confirmed. It was Zoya. Back at home, Meher had been discharged after 2 days. She was recovering well, laughing again. But Adil was still restless. His heart couldn't find peace. He hired a private investigator. I need to find someone. Her name is Zoya. She's in this city. She donated blood to save my daughter at City Hospital 2 days ago. I need to know everything, where she lives, what she does, everything. The investigator nodded. Give me 48 hours. 2 days later, Adil got a call. Sir, we found her. Adil rushed to the address he was given. It was a quiet old neighborhood. Nothing fancy. Just a row of small, simple houses. His car looked out of place there. He got out, adjusted his coat, and walked slowly toward the house. His heart beat faster with every step. He stopped in front of a blue gate. The nameplate read, Z. Rahim Teacher. Social worker. He raised his hand to knock, but didn't. Instead, he stood there, remembering how he once left her behind. And now, after all these years, she had saved the most important person in his life. He finally knocked. The door opened slowly, and there she was, Zoya. Her face had changed slightly, older, more tired, but her eyes were the same, calm, strong, kind. She looked at him without any surprise. Adil. He didn't know what to say. For a moment, both of them just stared at each other. Finally, he spoke. Why didn't you tell me it was you? Zoya smiled softly. Because I didn't come for you. I came for her. Adil stepped forward. You saved my daughter's life. I don't even know how to thank you. You don't have to, she said. I didn't do it for a thank you. I did it because she's a child. An innocent life, that's all that mattered. But I left you, I hurt you after everything. Zoya looked away for a moment. Some wounds fade, some don't. But saving a life has nothing to do with revenge. It's about doing what's right. There was a long silence. Finally, Adil asked, "Can we talk? There's so much I want to say, so much I regret." Zoya didn't answer right away. Then she opened the door wider. "You can come in, but don't expect the past to return." As Adil stepped inside, he knew this was just the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter full of truth, emotions, and maybe redemption. Adil stepped inside Zoya's small home. It was quiet, warm, and filled with a strange sense of peace. Unlike his mansion, where silence felt cold, this silence felt alive, with history, with memories, and perhaps with me. His eyes moved around slowly. The room was simple but neat. A few old photos on the wall, books on a shelf, a kettle boiling in the kitchen. Everything was small but full of care. Zoya walked ahead and gently placed 2 cups of tea on the table. "Sit. You look tired." Adil sat down, feeling awkward. It was the first time in years that he had nothing powerful to say. He was a man used to boardrooms and big decisions, but not to conversations like this. He looked at her. "I don't know where to start." Zoya took a sip of tea and gave a faint smile. "Start from the truth." Adil took a deep breath. "I thought I could control life, Zoya. I thought success, money, and power would make everything perfect. When I chose my career over you, I believed I'd forget, that I'd move on. But," he paused, "I never forgot you." Zoya's eyes softened, but she didn't speak. "You were right," Adil continued. "The day came when my money couldn't save the one person I loved most, Meher. And then, it was you. The same woman I abandoned. You were the only one who could save her. And you did." Zoya finally spoke, her voice calm. "Do you think I saved her to make you feel guilty?" Adil shook his head quickly. "No, I know you didn't. That's what hurts the most." There was silence again. Zoya stood up and walked to a wooden drawer. She pulled out an old box and placed it in front of him. "You remember this?" she asked. Adil opened it slowly. Inside was the silver locket he once gave her. Along with it, there were letters, old letters he had written and never sent, photos of them together. Even a small notebook with her handwriting. He felt something tighten in his throat. "You kept all this?" Zoya nodded. "Not because I was holding on to you, but because that time was real, even if it ended badly." Then Adil noticed something else inside the box, a birth certificate. He picked it up slowly. His eyes froze. Name: child, Alina Rahim. Mother, Zoya Rahim, mother. His hand shook slightly. "Zoya, is this your daughter?" Zoya looked down. "Yes." Adil's voice turned low. "Is she mine?" She looked into his eyes. "No, Adil, she's not yours. After you left, I stayed alone for a long time. Years later, I adopted her. She was left in a hospital, abandoned. No one came for her, so I became her mother." Adil exhaled slowly, feeling a mix of emotions. You saved a child again." Zoya gave a small smile. "Some people run businesses. I try to heal broken things." Just then, a young girl's voice came from the other room. "Ami, can I have more biscuits?" Zoya called back. "Yes, Alina, just a minute." Adil watched as the little girl walked into the room. She had bright eyes, warm energy, and a curious face. She looked at Adil and tilted her head. "Who's he?" Zoya replied, "He's, an old friend." Alina smiled. "Hello, uncle." Adil smiled back, his heart full. "Hello, dear." He watched her run back, her laughter echoing in the hallway. For a moment, the heavy atmosphere lifted. Later, as Adil stood up to leave, he turned to Zoya. "I came here to say thank you, but I also came with guilt, with regret. I don't know what you'll decide. I just want to be part of your life. Again, if you'll let me." Zoya looked out the window. "Life doesn't give back what it takes, Adil, but sometimes it offers something new." He nodded. "Then let me earn it. step by step. She didn't say yes, but she didn't say no either. As Adil walked out, the rain started again, but it felt softer now. Maybe, just maybe. The storm was passing. Days passed since Adil's visit to Zoya's home. His heart felt lighter, yet the shadows of his past still loomed large. He tried to focus on Meher's recovery, but his mind often drifted back to Zoya and Alina. Could he really rebuild a connection after so many years of silence? One afternoon, while Adil was at his office, his assistant entered with a worried look. "Sir, there is someone here to see you. She says it's urgent." Adil frowned. "Who is it?" She didn't say, just that it's important. Curious and cautious, Adil agreed to see her. The door opened and a woman stepped in. She looked around the room before fixing her eyes on Adil. "I am Nida," she said quietly. "I was close to Zoya when you left her all those years ago." Adil's heart skipped a beat. Nida was Zoya's childhood friend, someone he remembered as kind and loyal. "What do you want?" Adil asked. Nida took a deep breath. "I'm here because I know things you don't. Things about why Zoya left and why she never contacted you." Adil leaned forward, interested but cautious. "Go on," Nida's voice lowered. "Zoya didn't leave because she didn't love you. She left because of a secret she was hiding, a secret that could have destroyed both your lives." Adil's eyes narrowed. "What secret?" Nida looked around nervously before speaking. "Zoya was pregnant when you left, but the child was not yours." Adil's mind froze. "What are you saying?" She was scared. The child's father was abusive. She ran away to protect herself and the baby. That's why she disappeared. Adil felt a rush of emotions: shock, guilt, confusion. "Why didn't she tell me?" "Because she thought you wouldn't understand. Because she wanted to keep you safe." That night, Adil sat alone in his room, trying to absorb Nida's words. Everything he believed was being challenged. He thought of Zoya's strength, raising a child alone, hiding a painful truth, and still having the courage to save his daughter's life. He realized he didn't know her story, the real story, the Next day, Adil called Zoya. His voice was soft but determined. "I want to understand everything. Please tell me your story." Zoya hesitated but finally agreed. "Come to my home tomorrow. We need to talk." When Adil arrived the next day, Zoya welcomed him quietly. They sat in the living room, the weight of the past hanging between them. Zoya began slowly. "After you left, I was scared and alone. I found out I was pregnant. The man, he was cruel. I had to leave everything behind." She paused, looking at Adil. "I didn't want to lose you, but I also couldn't risk my child's life." Adil listened carefully, feeling a mix of sorrow and respect. "I gave birth to Alina," she continued, "but her real father was never part of our lives. I promised myself she would grow up safe and loved." Zoya's eyes filled with tears. "That's why I left without saying goodbye. I wanted to protect you both, from pain, from danger." Adil reached out, holding her hand gently. "Thank you for telling me. I'm sorry for everything, my mistakes, my absence." Zoya nodded. "We both made choices, but now we have a chance to heal." Outside, the rain began to fall softly again, washing away the dust of the past. Inside, two broken hearts started to find their way back to each other. The morning sun streamed through the curtains as Adil sat quietly in his study. His mind was full of thoughts about Zoya's story, the pain she had hidden, the sacrifices she had made, and the years lost between them. But now, something inside him was changing. He wanted to make things right. He picked up his phone and sent a message to Zoya. "Can I visit Alina? I want to get to know her." Within minutes, Zoya replied, "Of course, she'll be happy to see you." That afternoon, Adil arrived at Zoya's home again. This time, he wasn't just a man filled with guilt. He was a man ready to build something new. Alina was waiting in the living room, her eyes wide and curious. She stood up and ran toward him. "Uncle Adil!" she exclaimed, hugging him tightly. Adil smiled warmly. Hello, Alina, you're growing so fast. Zoya watched quietly, a soft smile on her face. For the next few hours, Adil sat with Alina, listening to her stories and laughter. He saw how much she reminded him of Zoya, strong, kind, and full of life. The connection between them felt real, even if it was different than he had imagined. Later, Zoya brought out a photo album. Together, they looked at pictures of Alina's childhood, the birthdays, the school plays, the quiet moments. Adil felt tears well up in his eyes. "Thank you for sharing this with me," he said softly. Zoya nodded. "It's time to stop living in the past. We can't change what happened, but we can choose what comes next." Days turned into weeks, and Adil continued visiting Zoya and Alina. Slowly, the walls of pain and regret began to crumble. He helped with school fees, took Alina to the park, and even cooked meals for them. But the hardest part was facing Meher. Adil's daughter was still recovering, and he worried how she would react if she learned about Alina. One evening, Meher asked, "Papa, who is Alina?" Adil took a deep breath. "She's someone very special, someone who needs our love." Meher looked curious but smiled. "I want to meet her." At the hospital, Zoya and Alina arrived to visit Meher. The room was filled with a quiet hope. Alina held Meher's hand, and Meher smiled back. For the first time in years, Adil felt his family growing again. Not perfect, but healing. That night, as Adil stood alone on his balcony, he whispered to the stars, "Thank you, Zoya, for saving my daughter, for saving us all." And somewhere far away, Zoya smiled, knowing that the hardest battles sometimes lead to the greatest love. The days were getting warmer, but inside Adil's heart, a cold fear was growing. He knew things were changing, slowly but surely, between him, Zoya, Alina, and Meher. But there was one thing he hadn't told anyone yet, the secret about Alina's real father. One evening, Adil sat alone in his office, staring at a photo of Alina and Meher smiling together. He wished for a happy future, but deep down, he feared the past could still destroy everything. Suddenly his phone rang. It was Nita, Zoya's old friend. Her voice was tense. "Adil, I need to warn you. Someone from Zoya's past is coming. Back." Adil's heart stopped. "Who? What do you mean?" "There's a man, the same man who hurt Zoya, Alina's biological father. He has returned to the city. He knows about Alina." Adil clenched his fists. "Why now? Why after all these years?" Nita's voice was serious. "He wants something, and he won't stop until he gets it." The next day, Adil went to Zoya's house. He found her sitting in the garden, calm but worried. "Zoya, you need to know," Adil said, trying to stay strong. "That man is here, Alina's real father. We have to be careful." Zoya's eyes darkened. "I knew this day would come. I've lived in fear for years, but now it's time to face him." Together they made a plan. They would protect Alina at all costs. Days later, a stranger appeared near Zoya's neighborhood. A tall man with cold eyes and a harsh voice. He asked neighbors questions about Zoya and her family. Alina noticed him too. One afternoon, while playing outside, she saw the man watching their house. She felt scared and told Zoya immediately. Zoya called Adil. "He's here. We can't wait." That night, Adil and Zoya sat together, Alina sleeping peacefully nearby. They spoke in whispers. "We have to tell Alina the truth," Zoya said softly. "She deserves to know who she is." Adil nodded. "But when and how?" Before they could decide, the doorbell rang. Adil stood up, heart pounding. At the door was the stranger, Alina's biological father. He looked at them coldly. "I've come for my daughter." Zoya's voice shook, but she stood tall. "Alina is not yours, she's mine," the man laughed bitterly. "She's blood, and I want what's mine." Adil stepped forward. "She's a child, not a prize. You don't have rights here." The tension in the room was thick. The past was no longer hidden. It was in front of them, threatening to tear their fragile family apart. But Alina woke up and entered the room. Looking at the man, she said firmly, "I'm not yours. I'm Zoya's daughter. and I'm proud of it." Her courage surprised everyone. The man's face twisted in anger, but he realized he had lost control. With one last glare, he turned and left. But the danger was not over. That night, Adil, Zoya, and Alina held each other tightly. They knew the road ahead was still hard, but for the first time they felt ready to face it, together. The cold wind blew gently outside, but inside Zoya's house, warmth filled the air. After the tense confrontation with Alina's biological father, a new chapter was about to begin for Adil, Zoya, Alina, and Meher. Days passed in a calm rhythm. The danger seemed to have gone, but the scars from the past remained. Still, they all knew healing would take time and courage. Adil spent more time with Meher and Alina, watching the two girls play in the garden. Their laughter was like music, filling the silence that had once filled the house. One afternoon, as Alina showed Meher her favorite storybook, Adil sat nearby, quietly watching. He felt a deep gratitude for Zoya, for her strength, her love, and the chance to rebuild what was broken. He remembered the painful years of silence and regret, but now, hope was growing. That evening, Adil invited Zoya to dinner at his home, a small gesture, but one full of meaning. As they ate, they talked about the future. Adil promised to be there for both Zoya and Alina no matter what. Zoya smiled softly. "We both made mistakes, but what matters is what we do now." They agreed to move forward slowly, building trust and love day by day. Meanwhile, Meher was recovering well from her accident. She grew stronger every day and started asking questions about Alina. One night, Meher came to Adil's room. "Papa, can I call Alina my sister?" Adil hugged her tightly. "Yes, Meher, she is family." As weeks turned into months, the family grew closer. Adil and Zoya even talked about marriage again, not to fix the past, but to create a new future, Alina. And Meher shared secrets, dreams, and smiles. The pain they had felt was still there, but it no longer defined them. One day, Adil stood in front of his company's employees and shared his story, the story of mistakes, forgiveness, and love. He spoke about Zoya's courage, Alina's strength, and Meher's bravery. His words inspired many, reminding them that family is not just about blood, it's about heart. That night, Adil, Zoya, Alina, and Meher sat together watching the stars. Adil whispered, "We lost many years, but we found each other again." Zoya smiled. "And we will never let go." The future was uncertain, but their hearts were full of hope. Together they had found healing and a new beginning.